Good evening, Canby. Welcome to the Urban Renewal meeting for March 18, 2026. I'm calling this meeting to order. Do we have any citizen input or any announcements online? I have the card to inform me, so we'll just do the next resolutions. Item A is to consider a group urban renewal resolution number 2601. And I have to Jamie, will you present this item to us?
Good evening, Chair Hensley and Commissioners. Jamie Stickle, Director of Economic Development for the City of Canby. So before you this evening is URA Resolution 2601, which is a resolution approving a revised South Walnut Street roadway easement, public utility easement, and authorizing the interim agency director to sign all documents necessary to complete the process. The proposed easements are on the Urban Renewal Agency owned property located at 2392 Southeast 1st Avenue. Again, this is a revised roadway easement, and it will improve the configuration of the intersection with Southeast 1st Avenue and reflects the as-bid roadway project. So as you'll remember, this came before you in November of last year, and then as we have gotten further in the process, there was a need to revise the easements, and we worked with Curran McLeod to bring these forward. The final alignment of the South Walnut Street was revised and required the revision of the previously approved easement, and that's shown in the exhibit located in your packet. As background, in June of 2019, the Urban Renewal Agency approved a minor amendment to the Canby Urban Renewal Plan, which added 2392 Southeast 1st to the Urban Renewal District. And in that same meeting, the agency approved the purchase and sale agreement for that property and authorized the agency director to sign all the documents needed to complete that purchase. The property was purchased specifically as the first parcel of land needed for the Walnut Street Extension project. And then the county roadway alignment previously approved in November was subsequently modified for the roadway to enter perpendicular, which just as a refresher in case you weren't sure, is just like this, to enter perpendicular to Southeast 1st Avenue, which provided the Urban Renewal Agency a larger remnant parcel east of the roadway. Additionally, the roadway easement now includes dedication of a 17-foot strip of land along Southeast 1st Avenue in compliance with the city's transportation plan. And after providing the permanent roadway easement to Clackamas County, the project also needs this 12-foot public utility easement, which is required by the City of Canby's Public Works Department for the placement of utilities to serve the adjacent lands. So the staff report and recommendation before you tonight is from city staff and Curran McLeod, which is the engineer working on the project, and you've seen him many times over the years, but specifically for this project. And our recommendation is for approval, which just, again, revises those easements that were previously approved in November.
Okay. Any questions from commissioners? Commissioner Davis.
Are you ready for a motion?
Sure.
I move to adopt UR Resolution number 26-01, a resolution approving the revised Walnut Roadway easement and associated utility easement and authorizing the interim agency director to sign all documents necessary to complete the process.
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Davis and seconded by Commissioner Patton to adopt UR Resolution number 26-01, a resolution approving the revised Walnut Roadway easement and associated utility easement and authorizing the interim agency director to sign all documents necessary to complete the process. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you all.
5-0. Thank you, Jamie. Moving on to other business, we have a facade improvement program application for 238 and 248 Northwest 1st Avenue. Tyler Nizer is up to present this item.
Good evening, Chair Hensley and Urban Renewal Agency. My name is Tyler Nizer. I'm the Economic Development and Tourism Coordinator for the City of Canby. And I'm here before you tonight because the city has received a facade improvement grant application for the property of 238 and 248 Northwest 1st Avenue here in Canby, Oregon. The property owner is here with us tonight, Kyle Helm, and currently residing in these buildings is the URA Hair Salon and the Oregon Texas Line Fitness. The grant request is up to $25,000, and I would like to first apologize. I was going over the staff report earlier today, and I did realize that in the staff report, it mentioned $25,500. That is incorrect. It is $25,000. That is what this program is for. So I just wanted to clarify that before we got in any further. And then this grant matches the private financial investment one-to-one of the applicant. The City of Canby also requires that there's 3 bids and reimburses the applicant based on the lowest bid. And the applicant is requesting the funds for restoration of the original brick and repair and replacement of the historic transom windows, and more specifically, the glass that's in those window frames. And we'll talk more about that later. And adding in heritage-style gooseneck lights. And then finally, paint and touch up of the siding, which you'll see pictures. There's not much of the siding to touch up and paint, but there is some. It's mostly brick. Since 2010, the Canby Urban Renewal Agency has funded construction grants of up to $25,000 to encourage private investment within Canby's Urban Renewal District. And in 2011, a previous owner to Kyle of those properties did apply and get approved for up to $25,000 for a facade improvement grant. The bulk of the funds were used for the awnings that you see there and dry rot repair. So it's always a good thing to make sure that the structure of our buildings, of the buildings, is always there for the historical integrity. And the funds that Mr. Helm is seeking tonight is not to replace the awning that those funds prior were used for. The owner of the property is seeking to enhance the appearance of the building facing Northwest First Avenue. While the space sees many events from the City of Canby events, specifically the Canby's First Thursday Night Market. This is en route to many of the parade routes that we have for our events, and it also faces 99E to welcome people into our downtown Canby. So it's highly visible and highly trafficked. Economic development staff has worked with the applicant, so they are aware that the grant can only be utilized for work after the approval of this grant, should the Urban Renewal Agency approve this tonight. And they are also aware that the work must be completed by June 30th of 2026, when the city ceases the collection of tax increment revenue. And then we always send the applications out to the Main Street Design Committee, and I wanted to read into those comments that we received. It is nice to know the facade improvement grant program is being accepted again. It is my pleasure to be part of the application process. The original is definitely in need of restoration. Plans to enhance the quality of old brick will be worthy of the heritage appearance. I accept the windows being replaced, plus the addition of gooseneck lights. The paint color, I assume, will be coordinated with the chosen style. Oh, this looks beautiful. I love that they are restoring the building with an eye to its historical significance. I approve. I vote.
Who's that from?
I can get each of the names specific to each of the comments. Yeah, I could get those to you. I vote yes. This is really nice. And thank you for providing this facade improvement information. This looks like an exciting project that will improve the look of those buildings greatly. This has all my full support. And so the property has previously been included in the reconnaissance level survey, and this has been conducted through the efforts of the Heritage and Landmark Commission. What the reconnaissance level survey does is it takes a broad look at the buildings and sees their historical significance. And through those surveys, this property was deemed eligible and contributing. And what that designation means is that should the property owner choose, they could move forward with getting that on a local or national historic registry. And what that would do is also that designation would contribute into establishing a downtown historic district, or downtown historic district. And that would be up to the property owners affected by those in that area, and if they wanted to move forward and support those efforts. At present, the building is in need of repair, providing an opportunity to enhance both the property and surrounding properties. Improvements of the building's facade are expected to increase visual appeal, promote walkability, and contribute to the overall beautification of downtown Canby. So while there is currently no state or local requirements governing the remodel of the property, concerns were raised by Carol Palmer, and she is the chair of the Heritage Landmark Commission, regarding the proposed facade work, specifically the window replacement and the brick treatment. I did reach out to Kyle, and following that conversation, it was clarified that the existing window frames would not be replaced, that it would just be the glass being replaced in there, and it wasn't going to be sandblasting that was going to restore the bricks, rather soda blasting. And I wanted to read that into the difference. Excuse me. Soda blasting is a gentle, eco-friendly method ideal for cleaning delicate materials and removing paint without pitting or warping surfaces. And sandblasting, on the other hand, uses harder, aggressive abrasives for heavy-duty jobs and can damage softer materials. And so, based on the information provided by the proposed work is not anticipated to negatively impact the building's historic integrity or its potential eligibility for a local and national historic designation. So Kyle and Carol are now in touch and in direct communication, and they plan to meet. Learning more from Kyle, he's expressed strong interest in learning more about the building's history and its potential significance moving forward. And I did receive approval from Carol, and she wanted me just to read in her notes of the property and its historic significance. So I promised her I would do that. And this is what she sent over. So, constructed by John Kohler for the original owner, his brother, George Kohler, his building's primary significance is its connection to the Kohler family. The elder Kohlers, George and John's parents, were immigrants and one of the founding families of Canby Evangelical Church in 1883. As part of the Milwaukee mission, the first services were held in the Mundorf School. A church was constructed in 1893 and was incorporated in 1894 as Zion Evangelical Church. The Kohlers were members of the Zion Cemetery Association that oversaw the cemetery established in 1897. John and George made significant contributions to the development of Canby in the post-World War I period as builders and as civic leaders. George served on the city council for 8 years during the 1930s, and John acted as the road superintendent and as the city inspector for the Holly Street City Hall Public Works Administration. Construction project during that decade. John Kohler's floor plans for the building were used by the architect as the basis for the final design, which was recognized nationally by the Public Works Administration in 1939 as one of the best examples in the nation of a PWA project that exemplified form-fitting function. The Kohler's legacy of the buildings still dominate the original town site and include the Deadman's Drugstore, which is Mattress World, Cutsforce Market, which is the Fort 8 Financial, Kohler and Sprigg, Canby Post Office, the Texas Line Fitness Center, and 238 Northwest 1st Avenue, Aura Salon, the Kohler Building, which is Blush West, and 311 South Ivy Street, the Zimmerman Home. So thank you, Carol, for all your help with that. And now I would like to call up Kyle and go over the photos here with you guys and discuss kind of what's being proposed further. So you can see this is the original front of the facade, and this is the rear of it. These are the windows. You can see some of the glass missing in there. Also, there is plywood in some of those areas. And let's see, this is the very first, when it was the post office at 238 Northwest 1st Avenue. This is the proposal drawings, and that's the rear. And then this is what it's proposed to look like after it's all completed. And is there anything that I missed that you'd like to add, Kyle?
That was a fantastic job by Tyler. We've spent some time, my wife and I have spent some time. We're happy to be new stewards of the building. We're happy to be new property owners in Canby, so we're super excited about that. We've spent some time at the Depot Museum looking at old photographs, and the work plan tries to match the original look of the building as it were in, the early 1940s. So I think it was originally built in 1936. And this is our best ability to get it to be as historically accurate as possible. And we're going to try to honor its cool historical heritage. And the tenants are both really supportive of it. And we think that the fact that the city has a facade improvement grant program is really neat. And we're happy to be considered as applicants. Happy to field any questions too about the work plan or the building or anything else.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for the applicant? I see none. Okay. Oh, Commissioner Davis.
Thank you. Has Carol Palmer seen these drawings?
Yeah.
Did she actually approve it, or does that, the meeting still have to happen between Carol?
She has approved.
Sorry. So Carol Palmer and the rest of the design committee receive the renderings as part of this. The design committee provides input, but they don't necessarily approve or disapprove. Since this building is not currently on the local register or the national register, the Heritage and Landmarks Commission would not be able to stop the redevelopment of this building, like, for instance, the historic City Hall. It is on the local register. So if for some reason someone wanted to do a major renovation to the outside of that building, that would have to go through the process because it's governed by Canby Municipal Code, Chapter 16, just like our planning code. And so the meeting, she has received these as part of the design committee, and the meeting between Carol Palmer and Kyle Helm is so that then she can continue to engage with him about best practices for buildings that are historically significant in the community, but not necessarily required to happen, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it is important. Carol puts in a lot of time to make sure things are done right and to make sure that there's buy-in with Carol on this as well. So, and is it my understanding this is the second facade improvement for this building?
Yes.
Same owner or different owner?
Different owner. The other one was in 2011.
Okay, that's what I thought. I knew it was a while ago.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, and as I requested at the last facade improvement, how did you advertise that the facade improvement grant was open to other businesses or other building owners? Did you advertise that $25,000 match grant? Did you pass that around to the Downtown Association or anybody?
We use it as a tool as we're talking to people. So when Kyle came to us, when he was in the process of purchasing the building, we spoke with him, but it has been discussed with local property owners and business owners. It is a grant that goes to the property. A business owner can apply, and we've certainly seen some come through that aren't even a property owner, but they apply, and then the property owner also signs off on that application. But it was not something that was advertised necessarily. It is just a tool that we have in our toolbox as we talk to people who are interested. And
for what it's worth, before I met with Tyler and Jamie, I found it on the website on the city, and it was pretty easy to find by searching for.
Just by looking for it?
Yeah, just by searching for ways that the city helps incentivize property owners to improve their spaces.
Okay. All right.
Commissioner Patton.
So it sounds like with the scope of the work, the primary things are removing the awnings, patching holes, and then cleaning the brick.
Yep, the plan is to so it's like, we're almost going in the order of the work too, which is great. So it's remove the awnings, patch those holes, soda blast the brick, repair the glass and make it consistent throughout the historic transom windows, touch up the siding, and then do touch up.
And as the contractors mentioned, anything about what they might expect. I noticed the one says that they can't guarantee results with the soda blasting, but has there been any concern of what could actually be underneath that brick or underneath that paint once it's cleaned off?
Yeah, so that's part of the process, is they do a little test sample to test the finished condition, and then we have to approve that in order for them to continue soda blasting the rest of it. And I don't know a lot about sandblasting really, or soda blasting, but I guess they have all different sorts of mediums that they can use. There's even like dry ice blasting and other means that they can do to make sure that the integrity of the substrate remains intact and it provides a good finished appearance. Unfortunately, it was painted with lead paint too, and so kind of a bummer, I know. But so it'll have to be, it's done through a certified abatement firm that also knows how to
Remediate it. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay. And so this might be getting a little technical, but under the window portion of these, and I've never really paid attention to it.
sure.
It's in the original photo here in the historic photo, it shows like a parquet brick treatment underneath the windows. Do you know if it looks like those windows at some point in time, especially the one there on the right, like those windows have been enlarged or changed? Do you know if they just cut the brick underneath the windows so that original brick from the building was underneath there, or we're having technical difficulties? So we're paused here.
Okay, I guess we'll have a brief recess while we get some stuff taken care of in the control booth. Okay, we're back. And the question was asked.
Yeah, so my question was that it would appear based on historical picture to what is up here, that there was probably some changes done to the windows back at some point in time between then and now. And in this picture, you can see there is a parquet brick pattern, which matches the upper area of the building next to it. And I was asking if they just cut that brick down so that way the original brick is actually under there, or if that's all, if they knocked essentially that wall out and put a new wall in there under the windows.
We think it was the former, but we're not quite sure. All of the upper brick, the transom windows all look to be the same. So we think that the windows, like you mentioned, got bigger. They got taller in the down direction. And so my guess would be that they probably saw cut the, lower course of brick. But we're not quite sure.
Okay.
That's just speculation, but that's the best guess. Because the transom windows look original, so does the brick above.
Okay, so I guess for me, I would really love to see it I would hope that after all the brick is cleaned, that is all there, because if it is, it's great, and if not, and that could be replaced to make it look more like this, that would be awesome. I guess one of the things is, my suspicion is based on these estimates and stuff, that quite a bit of the cost is in the soda washing or the soda blasting of the brick and the remediation of the lead paint and all of those sort of things, correct?
Yeah, probably 15% or 20% of the total project cost.
Okay.
So Not the majority of it, but yes, a pretty good amount.
A portion of it. So I guess for me, I guess what I would like to see is if they do the test and it turns out that there's really no way to move forward with doing the whole building, then maybe there is a relook at it, and money that is not spent on all of that aspect of it is somehow able to be returned back as part of the project. If that makes sense. Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Totally, yeah. If it's not a good appearance, then we wouldn't move forward with the soda blasting, and then we wouldn't be reimbursed 50% of that, those spent funds by the program.
Yeah, so we'll like cover the paint, but not the whole rest of it. So, okay, so then, so there is some, if it isn't done in its completion, then there is essentially an escape clause that the money that's not spent for that whole thing would come back then. Okay, that sounds like a plan. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? Okay. In that case, I will entertain a motion. Commissioner Patton.
Chair Hensley, I move to approve the matching grant of up to $25,000 for 238 and 248 Northwest First Avenue under the guidelines of the Canby Facade Improvement Program.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved by Commissioner Patton and seconded by Commissioner Waterman to approve the facade improvement matching grant of up to $25,000 for 238 and 248 Northwest First Avenue under the guidelines of the Canby Facade Improvement Program. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
That passes 4-1. Okay, thank you. And that brings us to the end of our business, so we will adjourn this meeting. Be back.
Could I make one comment, please?
Absolutely. Go ahead, Commissioner Davis.
Could I make it real clear to the city administrator that it's my understanding that there was one project left to do, and that was the Second Street project. I was shocked to hear that we were now dealing with a facade improvement. That should have been told to us before in regards to the fact that there's other expenditures. So if there's other expenditures in the budget that we should be made aware of, would you please follow that process so that we know that? Because I thought for sure that it was only the Second Street project.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Patton.
To piggyback on Commissioner Davis's statement, I have to make sure my brain's in gear here. I understand your frustration about this. It was in the budget, and at some point, if we didn't want to do it, we should have taken it out earlier. I would make a recommendation that from this group on up to the city council, because we wear different hats up there, and I will put this on my list as well, is that with the closure of the district, that this be something we take a hard and fast look at for the next budget year, because essentially that money will get folded into the general fund now. It's coming in at a tax increment, and we need to take a hard look at whether it makes sense to continue this project once the urban renewal district is closed. And if not, we need to make sure that that's pulled out of the budget early, so that way nobody out there thinks that those funds are available for such a project. So that is something we need to put on the forefront of this process, and I would dare say that it might be better for the city council to have that conversation sooner than later, because now the budget process is underway. And if we can get that decision made before the bread is in the oven, I think that would make sense.
Commissioner Davis.
I agree with you to a certain degree, Jason, but in regards to, I want to see it go through the budget process. I don't want to see us make any decisions on facade improvement until we see the budget and make sure it's part of the budget process. But I think too, we should take it down off the website too, until which time the budget's been approved, so that people don't think that it's still out there and available.
Did we approve, my bad, I did not look at the budget book. Did we approve it for 50 or 25 for this year? For 50, so there is technically one grant left available in this fiscal year.
Yes, the other money that was spent was not the full 25,000. So there is money that is still left over in the line item for facade improvement grant, which is separate than the urban renewal.
Yeah, thank you, sorry.
I know.
I should have motioned you up, sorry.
That there would be some money that is left over in the facade improvement grant line item, which is separate from the urban renewal district projects line item, which is the one that is doing the North First Street and Northwest Second, which, understood what you're saying and leads to the confusion, I think, on staff's part, because they're two separate line items. One is just for facade and one is for URD projects.
Gotcha.
And so there would be some money left over. The one thing that obviously we are running into is time. So the urban renewal district and the ceasing the collection of the tax increment revenue, the time to even be able to do a project. So pulling it from the website, if that's the will of the agency, we can certainly do that.
Because you're saying there's not a full 25,000 left.
Correct.
Okay. I'll just say I would prefer we pull it because we can't offer what the program says. Commissioner Patton. I saw you in my proofread.
No problem. And I'm not sure if I'm able to do this, but I would like to make a motion that at this point in time, the application process for accepting new applications into the facade improvement program be halted and no new applications submitted for this current fiscal year.
Second.
Any discussion on that point?
Is there any other facade improvements that have been applied for?
No, as soon as we receive them, then they come forward to you.
Okay.
While conversations have been had, there are certain properties that have had conversations for years and years, and it's never,
Okay, so there's nothing else.
So there's nothing outstanding, no.
Nothing in the pipeline.
So I'll go for that, yeah.
Okay.
As long as we're not.
Did you have a question, Paul?
No.
Okay, well then I will take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. Okay.
Great, thank you very much.
Please remove that. Thank you. Okay, with all of that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, we're adjourned. I'm just going to call it. Good evening, Canby, and welcome to the City Council meeting for March 18th, 2026. If you'll please rise for invocation and pledge of allegiance. Dear Heavenly Father, we lift up our city to you. Give our leaders wisdom, integrity, and compassion as they serve. Protect our first responders, strengthen and sustain them in every moment, and watch over our military, grant them safety, peace, and comfort, and be near to their families. Lord, I also lift up our community as many are hurting from the tragic events of the past weekend. Draw close to those who are grieving, bring comfort, healing, and peace where it is needed most. Help us all to come together in love and support one another, and let your presence bring hope and unity to our city. In your name I pray, amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, I see we have Councilor Maldonado on now. We'll do a roll call.
I am. Can you hear me okay?
I do. Teresa's about to do roll call.
Councilor Padden,
Present.
Councilor Maldonado,
Here.
Council President Hensley,
Here.
Mayor Hodson is absent.
Yes.
Councilor Davis,
Here.
Councilor Stearns,
Here.
Councilor Waterman.
Here.
Thank you, Teresa. Do we have any staff introductions for tonight, Randy?
Council President, we do not.
Okay, thank you. Citizen input and public comment for non-agenda items. This is the opportunity for audience members to address the City Council on items that are not on the agenda. Do we have any cards? We have one coming up. Do we have anybody online?
No, ma'am.
Okay. If you are attending in person, you want to comment or opine, we have these white cards in the back to fill out and hand them to Teresa. Currently, we have, I don't know if there's any particular order. It looks like it's about the same subject, so we'll just call Christy and Celesta up at the same time, and you can decide who's going to talk first. Celesta Graves and Christy Smith. And I hope I said your name right.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Thank you. Okay, all right. Hi.
Hi, Christy.
Hi, I'm Christy. I use she, her pronouns. And I'm here tonight as a member of this community, but also as the founder of Canby Pride. March 31st is recognized around the world as Transgender Day of Visibility. It's a day dedicated to celebrating transgender people, acknowledging their contributions to our communities, and affirming their life and their right to live openly and safely. Transgender people have always existed. Many live quietly and courageously in towns just like ours. And that's something I'd like to speak to tonight. There's an assumption in small towns that LGBTQ plus people, and especially transgender people, come from somewhere else. That they live in big cities, that they're just visitors, outsiders, newcomers, people from Portland creeping into Canby. But the truth is much simpler. Transgender people have always been part of rural communities. They grew up here, they go to school here, they go to church here, they work here, and raise families here. They volunteer, run businesses, attend churches, and care deeply for the place that they call home. They're not from somewhere else, they're from here. Rural communities have always included transgender people. What changes is not their existence, it's whether they feel safe enough to be seen. That's why Transgender Day of Visibility matters. Tonight, I want to say directly to any trans folks listening here in Canby, we see you, you belong here, your lives and your presence matter. And to the broader community, I invite everyone to approach this day with curiosity, compassion, and care. Communities grow stronger when we make room for each other's humanity. Transgender people are not an abstract political topic. They are people. They are part of our town, and they are part of our future. On March 31st and every day, visibility is about recognizing that truth. And so also on March 31st, Canby Pride will be organizing and hosting a pop-up exhibit in the Willamette Room here at the library from 4 to 7 p.m. where folks can drop in, learn, and connect with one another and kind of get an idea of how trans people have affected our past, how they're working presently to survive, and how many of them are working towards a better future. Thank you.
Thank you. Celeste?
Hi, good evening. I'm Celeste. I use she, her pronouns. I'm here as a member of the Canby community, but also I sit on the board of Canby Pride. And I tend to show up at these a lot of times around these topics, not because this is the only thing that's important to me, but we all have things that just hit our heart. And for me, people who are marginalized or maybe looked over, it hits my heart because we're all people. And so to me, I show up because I want people to be recognized as their experience is valuable, their experience is real, and that when we recognize that and say, yeah, then it just affirms of the value as a human being. And so that's why I'm here. And that's why I proclaim that, yeah, transgender people exist and are a beautiful part of our community. And then when we do that, it's like they have this freedom to thrive in our community. They bring creativity, they bring business, they bring compassion, they bring a sense of a place where people want to come and live. And so that's why I keep showing up, and that's why I sit here and just say, hey, trans people, I love you, I see you, and you are absolutely a valuable part of this community. And I dream of a day when our leaders will also stand up and proclaim on a day that, yeah, this is a day where we also see that as valuable enough to make a proclamation. So that's my dream, and I hope that someday you will be part of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Okay, anybody online? I'm sorry, okay. All right. Next we have Proclamation of National Vietnam War Veterans Remembrance Day and the Proclamation of Vietnamese American Remembrance Day. Do we have someone I actually have not the actual certificates. Do you have those, or? I'll read this, but we don't have anything to hand them today. Okay. I meant to ask you that in between, but I forgot.
Yeah, we'll have the mayor sign them, and I'll mail them to them.
Perfect. Okay.
I believe Irene Brashears is here for the first one.
Yes, she is. I see her out there. Hello, Irene.
And Council, it's Irene Brashears from Canby. We have Mr. John Alfieri, the president of the Vietnam Era Memorial, who will be accepting the proclamation. I know it in lieu of, but he'll do a few words about the memorial and about the recognition day and about our Burgerville luncheon and ceremony.
Perfect.
Mr. John?
Okay. Okay, well, while you're coming up, I will read the proclamation while you come up and get situated.
And we'll have our auxiliary president, Mr. Larry Horn, passing out the invitation and the coloring page from the Vietnam Era Memorial.
Excellent. Okay, well, I will read this. Whereas on January 12th, 1962, United States Army pilots lifted more than 1,000 South Vietnamese service members over jungle and underbrush to capture a National Liberation Front stronghold near Saigon. Operation Chopper marked America's first combat mission against the Viet Cong and the beginning of one of our longest and most challenging wars. Through more than a decade of conflict that tested the fabric of our nation, the service of our men and women in uniform stood true. 54 years after that fateful mission, we honor the more than 3 million Americans who served. We pay tribute to those we have laid to rest, and we affirm our dedication to showing a generation of veterans the respect and support of a grateful nation. Whereas the Vietnam War is a story of service members of different backgrounds, colors, and creeds who came together to complete a daunting mission. It is a story of Americans from every corner of our nation who left the warmth of family to serve the country they loved. It is a story of patriots who braved the line of fire, who cast themselves into harm's way to save a friend, who fought hour after hour, day after day, to preserve the liberties we hold dear. From Le Drang to Hue, they won every major battle of the war and upheld the highest traditions of our armed forces. Whereas 11 years of combat left their imprint on a generation, thousands returned home bearing shrapnel and scars. Still more were burdened by the invisible wounds of post-traumatic stress, of Agent Orange, of memories that would never fade. More than 58,000 laid down their lives in service to our nation. Now and forever, their names are etched into two faces of black granite, a lasting memorial to those who bore conflict's greatest cost. And whereas our veterans answered our country's call and served with honor, and on March 29th, 1973, the last of our troops left Vietnam. Yet, in one of the war's most profound tragedies, many of these men and women came home to be shunned or neglected, to face treatment unbefitting their courage and a welcome unworthy of their example. We must never let this happen again. Today, we reaffirm one of our most fundamental obligations to show all who have worn the uniform of the United States the respect and dignity that they deserve, and to honor their sacrifice by serving them as well as they served us. Over half a century after those helicopters swept off the ground and into the annals of history, we pay tribute to the fallen, the missing, the wounded, millions who served, and the millions who awaited their return. Our nation stands stronger for their service, and on Vietnam Veterans Day, we honor those proud legacy with our deepest gratitude. Now, therefore, I, Tracy Hensley, by virtue of the authority vested in me as council president, on behalf of the mayor of the City of Canby, I do hereby proclaim March 29, 2026 as National Vietnam War Veterans Remembrance Day. I call upon all Americans to observe this day with appropriate programs. And hello.
Hi, how are you? My name is John Alfieri. I'm Senior Vice Commander of the VFW. Post 6057 here in Canby. On behalf of Vietnam veterans and their families, we thank the City of Canby for this proclamation. Also, we enjoy and are blessed to have the support of the Canby community for our Vietnam era memorial, which I am also president of. Listening to those words and to hear at this point in my life, I can still feel it. We are blessed, and our memorial is more than just a helicopter. It means a lot to the community, it means a lot to us veterans. The memorial is maintained by the City of Canby. Veterans, VFW veterans, American Legion veterans, and also auxiliary, VFW auxiliary. I'd like to have a special shout out to Ken Daniels for taking care of our memorial over the years. Mm-hmm. And they have done a fantastic job. I know they're underfunded and they're undermanned, but yet they still have been able to maintain the memorial along with our help. We do have a memorial Vietnam Remembrance Day on the 29th, which is also Palm Sunday. It starts at 1 o'clock. We have a short program, and after the program, everyone is invited to Burgerville for a no-host lunch. And we hope to see as many people there as we can. We wanted the mayor there, but knowing that it's Palm Sunday, we didn't want to put the bite on him.
I will mention the event to him and see if he can make it.
So I just want to say that at my age, I didn't think until I heard you talk that words would have an effect on me, but they do. So thank you all.
Indeed. And it is Palm Sunday, but I will be there and I will remind the mayor of the date as well.
Okay, appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. And Larry, you had something to hand out?
Always.
Always Larry with the handouts.
It's Irene.
Thank you very much.
You too.
Thank you, dear.
Madam Council President, what our auxiliary president Larry Horn is passing out is the invitation, but also the second page, I think you'd be familiar with. It's the artwork by Alex Miller. He's a class of 2008 at Canby High School. I asked him to do a cartoon coloring page that Burgerville always has, a coloring page for the kids when they come to Burgerville, and this was specifically because Burgerville donated the land to us to make the memorial. Jonathan Miller, the UPS driver, this is his son, one of the Miller kids, Becky, Ben, and Alex. And I just wanted to let you know that still in Canby, we have people that appreciate the memorial, and we had the community come together to help build this memorial, so that's to let you know.
Okay, Jonathan was my UPS driver for a while.
Oh, okay.
And I know his ex-wife. This is a very good rendition of the memorial that's down there, so he did some excellent work.
Yes, and he's very talented. He's a graphic art designer now, and he did some projects with Hallmark. And so we had some of his things done. So I was really happy that I just needed a statue in the helicopter and gave him the photo, and that's what we got. So
Nicely done. Thank you.
Also, if you notice, in conjunction with America's 250th, we put the logo of America 250 on it.
I did see.
And then we put down, because land is free because of the brave. And then it's the 15th anniversary of the Vietnam era memorial, if you can believe it.
Oh, wow.
15 years ago, boy, it took years.
I remember when they brought it in, yeah. Thank you, Irene. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to the next one, which is the proclamation of Vietnamese American Remembrance Day. Whereas Vietnamese refugees have proudly resided in the city of Canby, state of Oregon, since the conclusion of the Vietnam War on April 30th, 1975. And whereas Vietnamese Americans have put forth their full toiling energy building the city of Canby, state of Oregon, in a multitude of prominent areas, including industry, economy, culture, education, and military service. Whereas Vietnamese Americans have counted on the state of Oregon, USA, as being their second heart, mind, and family homeland. And whereas every year Vietnamese Americans observe Remembrance Day on April 30th, to solemnly honor the 58,000 American soldiers, including 810 Oregonian soldiers, and more than 300,000 South Vietnamese soldiers who sacrificed their lives in the line of duty for freedom and democracy in South Vietnam from November 1, 1955 to April 30th, 1975. Now, therefore, I, Tracy Hensley, by the virtue of authority vested in me as council president on behalf of the mayor of the city of Canby, do hereby proclaim April 30, 2026 to be recognized as Vietnam American Remembrance Day and encourage all members of Canby to join in this observance. Did you have a few words you wanted to say? Make sure the green light's on and introduce yourself, please. Okay, it's on. Good.
Good evening, Council President Hensley and the councilors. My name is Thao Từ. I am President of the Vietnamese Community of Oregon. On behalf of the Board of the Vietnamese Community of Oregon, thank you so much for the proclamation in recognition of the Vietnamese American Remembrance Day, April 30. And this year, we will observe the Remembrance Day on April 26th at Lackamat High School. We would like to invite all of you to join us on that occasion. And on behalf of the Board of the Vietnamese Community of Oregon, we present this certificate to the City of Canby. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, next item is items to be removed from the consent agenda, but there's only one item on the consent agenda, so I'm assuming we're good with the agenda the way it is, so I'll take a motion. Councilor Davis.
Thank you. I move to approve the consent agenda that includes approval of the February 11th, 2026 City Council work session and special called meeting minutes, and the February 18th City Council regular meeting minutes.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilor Davis and second by Councilor Waterman to approve the consent agenda, which is the approval of the minutes for February 11th, 2026 City Council work session and special called meeting minutes for the February 18th, 2026 City Council regular meeting. All those, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes 6-0. Councilor Patton.
Under appointments, I move to approve the appointment of Dusty Guild Hansen to the Heritage Landmarks Commission with a term ending June 30th, 2026.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilor Patton and seconded by Councilor Waterman to approve the appointment of Dusty Guild Hansen to the Heritage and Landmarks Commission with a term ending June 30, 2026. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. 6-0. Okay. Moving right along to ordinances and resolutions. This is a first reading for ordinance number 1665. And the staff present here is Spencer
I'm going to call
Pollock.
Spencer up, yeah. Thank you.
Good evening, Council.
Hello.
So we're here tonight to ask for the permission to purchase a crack sealing trailer so that we can start doing all of the crack sealing in-house. The last couple of years, we've been renting the machines. The problem with renting is they are very hard to get during the right time of year that you would be using them. So we're having to rent them 6 months in advance. And then we're rolling the dice on whether or not the weather will cooperate 6 months later for the week that we have the equipment. If it's raining, then it's you can't go out and crack seal. So there was a couple of times last year that we had the machine and it was sitting there, but then the rain came and we had to let it sit for a couple of days. So we're proposing that by being able to have it in-house, we can be a little bit more flexible on when we can go out, weather dependent, and doing the crack sealing on some of the roads.
And not have it sitting there being rented for no reason.
Yep.
I like that idea. Any questions for staff on this item?
Yeah.
Councilor Stearns.
Question is, what's the cost of renting it?
The cost of renting it for a week, I believe last year, was I think it was around 10,000. So realistically, this machine, renting it for 10 years is when it would pay for itself.
But you'd have it more available to do more crap.
We would have
crack
the
sealing
availability to
than
do
you
it
would.
more often.
You do it right now, so we expect to once we get this to have a bit more up to date, I would assume. Okay.
Councilor Patton.
Yeah, so I am so excited about this crack sealer. Let me tell you, I have been looking forward to the city buying one of these things for years. There is nothing more beautiful than a sealed crack in the road. It is amazing. I guess my question is, it's the simple things in life, folks. When you get older, it's just great. So, anyways, has there been thought about, so internally, like within neighboring cities, do you know of what other cities own a crack sealer like this?
Off the top of my head, I think Newburgh and Oregon City do, but I could be wrong on that.
Okay, but like Malala, other municipalities do not own one of these machines.
No.
One of the things that I will throw out as a consideration possibly in help in the possibility of maybe paying off the machine earlier would be to set up some sort of program where the city of Canby could actually rent the machine to jurisdictions around our area. And when we are not, so that way when we're not using it, if they're using it, they actually have the ability to use it when we aren't, and then help sort of subsidize the cost of this machine and pay it down sooner, I think would be an interesting way of doing it. I would say keeping it similar, like at standard rates, so that way rental companies don't think we're trying to pull one over on them. But I think that would be an interesting way of doing it. And I like it. With that, I move to approve ordinance number 1665, an ordinance authorizing the interim city administrator to enter into a purchase agreement with Seal Master to purchase a new asphalt crack sealer equipment to a second reading on April 1st, 2026.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilor Patton, seconded by Councilor Davis, to approve the ordinance number 1665, an ordinance authorizing the interim city administrator to enter into a purchase agreement with Seal Master to purchase a new asphalt crack sealer equipment to a second reading April 1, 2026. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
6-0.
Thanks, Spencer.
Thank you, Spencer. Moving right along, we are going to consider resolution number 1453, and the staff presentation will come from Randy.
I'd like to call our guests up. Okay, welcome. This staff report is a repeat from last year, and thanks to Chris, we collaborated on this process that's outlined in our charter. So with that set up, I'll pass it over to Chris.
All right. Good evening, Council President Hensley, councilors, staff. My name's Chris Wright. I'm the district manager for Canby Disposal. This is Jonathan Newey, our controller, local controller. We're here this evening to request our annual rate adjustment, which is a CPI-based rate increase this year. It's 5% or 80% of CPI, whichever is lower. And this year, 80% of CPI with a little bit of disposal increase comes out to about 1.62, 1.63% increase for the residents and commercial customers of City of Canby. I believe you have all the information you need in the council report, so I'm happy to answer any questions or field any comments.
Councilor Patton.
Yeah, so I just want to thank you for coming in tonight. And I always kind of enjoy bringing this up, but several years ago, I really put you folks through your paces, and I appreciate how responsive you have been ever since. Since then, I've not had any complaints from residents about any of the services. And I think you've gone above and beyond with some of the projects and stuff that you've been doing in the city, what with the shred day and the large garbage pickup day, and now the Pink Sisters program with the pink recycling bins, which I see more and more of every pickup week. And then the work that we're doing in conjunction with the Canby Eco Club about potential food waste composting within the city. So I really appreciate what you folks have been doing.
Thank you, Councilor Patton. I appreciate that, and I will never forget that evening a few years ago. I do have a copy of our franchise agreement just in case.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, it's our pleasure to partner, and support all the nonprofits around town. And I want to thank all of you for approving the pink cards for supporting Pink Sisters. We've raised, I believe, $25,000 so far to support that organization, and it's been amazing to see the support from the community here in Canby, and just really rewarding to see all the carts out on the streets. So appreciate that.
Any other comments or questions from
Councilor Stearns.
I just want to I know it's in the packet and everything, and just so that everybody who's listening can understand, we're going from, for the residential piece, we're going from $34.89 a month to $35.46 a month. Less than $1 raise. So when we vote on it, I like to bring it down to an actual number we're voting for.
Thank you, Councilor Stearns.
And what is the difference in, I don't see it on here. If it's on here, I apologize, my eyes are low. What's the impact on commercial rates?
Commercial is 1.63, I believe. It's the dollar amount we don't have listed because it varies so much depending on container size and frequency of service. So,
okay.
But it is the same percentage-based increase.
Okay.
It is, if I may, that's reversed. So the residential list is listed at a 1.63% increase. Commercial is listed as a 1.62% increase, and for drop boxes, it's 2.9%.
Oh, I see where it's okay.
Thank you. Apologize for the error there.
No, that's quite all right. I'm having trouble reading the grid from here, even though it's right here. I need new glasses, but that's another day. Okay, thank you for that. Any other questions from the panel? Yes, Councilor Davis.
Are you ready for a motion?
I am.
I move to adopt.
Oh, wait, no, I'm not. I apologize.
Okay.
Because I forgot one piece, it's important. This is the public's time. If there's anybody here or online that has a comment, question, or concern about this rate proposal, then this is your time. Do we have anybody that has anything to offer? Seeing none, I will now take a motion.
Thank you. I move to adopt Resolution 1453, a resolution authorizing a rate increase and establishing a new rate schedule for garbage collection by Canby disposal within the City of Canby.
Second.
Okay. I heard him first. It's been moved by Councilor Davis, second by Councilor Patton, to adopt resolution number 1453, a resolution authorizing a rate increase and establishing a new rate schedule for garbage collection by Canby disposal within the City of Canby. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 This passes 6-0.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, other business, city administrator recruitment update. Randy, were you going to kick this discussion off, or was that Emily to do that, or what are we doing here? Randy, she points.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you kick it off.
Unless.
Yeah, I'd like to go ahead and kick it off. Number one,
okay.
I would like to acknowledge Randy's work as our city administrator since he's been here, the team building that he has created within City Hall with the department heads, and thank him for keeping us informed along the way as city councilors. He's done an excellent job with that. We have a number of issues in front of us as a city council and as a city in regards to filling a police chief's position, a public works director position. We've got numerous projects, the Walnut Street Extension Project, the comprehensive plan moving forward. I mean, and I really feel that for us to try to fill this position by the end of June under the current extension would be remiss on our part. And so I would highly recommend that we extend the interim city administrator's contract to the end of the year and revisit it again in October, November, and see where we're at with that position, with the position. I think we owe it to the city administrator, perhaps, that a couple city councilors meet with him prior to June, the end of June, on the extension of this contract, if we so approve, so that we can find out anything else, perhaps, that if there's any other financial impacts to extending his contract and bring it back to the city council for approval. And I'd be willing to be one of those people. So to kick it off, so that we can have discussion, I'd make a motion to extend the interim city administrator's employment contract to December 31st, 2026.
Second.
I'm writing it down, hold on. I want to make sure I have it down. 2026. Okay, it's been moved by Councilor Davis and seconded by Councilor Maldonado to extend the contract of the interim city administrator through December 31st, 2026. Any more discussion? Councilor Patton and then Councilor Stearns.
So I guess my first question would be to you, Randy. Would you be willing to do such a thing?
Yes, Councilor Patton, thank you. I'd like to echo some of the opening remarks that there's a lot of business continuity right now that's in motion, and after some disruption, you want to make sure that you keep working through that. And we have a lot of big things that are in motion that I think that continuity would help to kind of finish out. As was mentioned earlier, UGB, comp plan, TSP, all the SDCs. I spoke with Mr. Hardy earlier today. They all need to get done before the end of the year. They're on track to do that. And 2 big hires coming up, police chief and public works director, closing out of the urban renewal agency. All of the $30 million in capital projects, I feel vested ownership in getting those out of the starting blocks and RFP'd and put out for bid. I think there's a lot of work to do on that front that I'd like to just sustain the momentum. And I just want to say I really enjoyed all of our communication the last 8 months. Anything I know, you know. That's kind of the way I operate, and it's been just a good partnership, and also it's a team sport, and I couldn't do this without the trust and the collaboration of the current department head team, the senior leadership team. They're fantastic, and we lean on each other, and I think it proves on Wednesday nights when we come before you for the city business. So to answer your question, yes.
Okay, so and along that vein, if we are simply extending the current contract, the question would be the terms of that contract, are they still good to you for the remainder for the extension, or do there need to be any changes?
Everything feels really good. I'll just say, not to air too much publicly, but my COBRA runs out in November, so we can have a discussion on the last month of that. But that's a technicality. I'm currently paying my own medical and health insurance for the city, so
okay,
that would come up. So we can talk about that in October or November, like you mentioned. So
okay, excellent. And then along those lines, I just wanted to say that along a similar vein to what Councilor Davis was saying, I appreciate the work that Randy has done as the interim city administrator as well. The city was not just off the tracks, it was in a ditch. And he has done a lot in a very short period of time to get it back on track. And I know there is still work to do. And to those that have worked through this at the city staff and such, I appreciate what you have put in to help Randy get us to where we are today. I think the city is in probably one of the most strongest situations that it's been in years. And so I appreciate that. And I am also thankful that several months ago when this group met and we were looking at all the various options and candidates, that we went with you, because I dare say that if we had have went with any of the other individuals, I do not feel that we would be in the same situation that we are at today. So that is that.
Councilor Stearns.
Yeah, I would like to echo Councilor Davis. I'm really grateful for the job that you've done so far, and I would like to keep you on as an administrator. The only thing that I would want to bring up maybe for discussion is it would appear that where the system works, we might be in a situation where we're going up to a certain deadline and then deciding at the last minute to extend, or not, it's not really last minute yet, but finding a new administrator does take a little time. And so I would think we should probably have some more clarity about how long that would go. I personally have no intention of telling you to go off early, but I think it would be important for the city to maybe even do either a longer term contract or something that gives us all expectations on when transition would occur when that comes to, because it sounds like right now we're almost like temporary, well, let's extend it, okay, and that gives a little bit of uncertainty. So I'd like to get some more certainty into the process. I don't know if that makes any sense to do that. That's one. And the second thing is that while we're all going, I guess I'll speak for everybody so far, but that we're going well with you, it'd be a good idea, I think, to get a method for city council evaluations that going by when things are going good. That way, the next time or whatever, then we have a process going through. Because I think one of the problems is if we rely too much on the individual, because you're a great city administrator, later on when the individual changes, the tendency could be just to say, uh-oh, what happened? And if we have some good, strong traditions as far as evaluations and that sort of thing to work out, then I think that would be something we would be nice to develop in the meantime.
Yeah. Good. Councilor Davis.
Thank you. Yeah, point well taken in regards to where do we go from here after extending, if we choose to extend the interim city administrator's contract. And I'd recommend that we just break that down and deal with the motion on hand, and then possibly talk about where do we go from here, either tonight or a later date, where we look at, because I know we have a charter committee that's looking at the charter and things like that, and is this an opportunity for the charter committee to recommend that we change the charter, possibly even taking it to a vote in November to deal with that issue?
That is one of the things we're talking about.
Yeah.
So, that's why this discussion, kicking it to November would be good, because then we'll know how that vote comes out, so.
Right.
Yeah, and I just want to note that it's been at least 2, potentially 3 city administrators ago since we've had this level of communication. So I just really want to appreciate the fact that, like you just said, what you know, we know. And I appreciate that level of communication, and that way we know what's coming our way. If we're pulled over in the milk aisle or what have you, we can have some. We don't get that deer in the headlight look like I have no idea what you're talking about. We know kind of what's going on, and I appreciate those emails and texts that we get from you. Did you have anything to offer, Mr. Waterman? Yes.
Yeah, same. I think it's pretty universal here that we appreciate all the work that you're doing. I appreciate you coming in and hitting the ground running. I appreciate your professionalism, your being on the committees and seeing you proactively reach out to the committees. Sometimes something like the Bike and Ped Committee can seem small and insignificant to some people. And when you reach out proactively to them, it sends a pretty clear message that you're invested in the community and you show up. And so that's very much appreciated. And I appreciate seeing you and the staff, and this for me personally, it kind of wears my heart to see a glow coming back to the city. And so I appreciate that, and you're a part of that. so.
Okay. We do have a motion on the floor, and we have an acceptance of the offers from Randy. We do have a question or comment from Emily.
So to officially extend the contract, you'll have to do it via ordinance because it's going to be in excess of $50,000. So my suggestion for
amend the motion to direct staff to draft such a document.
Amend the motion to authorize councilors, Davis, whomever, as delegates to work with the interim city administrator and staff as needed to bring an ordinance extending the interim city administrator contract to December 31, 2026 in substantially the same form as the current contract. And I have this written down for, if this is good, I have it written down and we'll pass it to whomever.
Thank you. Well done.
Okay, great. Let me just.
I accept that motion.
Let me just write the last word and I'll send it down away.
We need
And
to.
Councilor Maldonado, did you accept that amendment as a second?
I guess it'll be okay.
All right. All
No,
in
in all seriousness, yes, I do. And Randy, I'm going to echo everybody here. Thank you for everything that you have done in the position that you've done in this short amount of time. I feel like Councilor Patton was correct. Everything was off the rails, and what you did, I don't believe any of our other city administrators could have done, not nearly quite as well. So thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilor.
And I'll be happy to be the second counselor if that's amicable to everyone. Okay. Then it's been moved by Councilor Davis and seconded by Councilor Maldonado to have Councilors Davis and Council President Hensley work with the interim city administrator and staff as needed to bring ordinance extending the interim city administrator contract to December 31st, 2026 in substantially the same term as the current interim city administrator contract. That's a lot of words. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Do you want this? Will you pass this down? Actually, I'll just put it with the stuff I gotta sign. Okay, moving on to councilor comments and liaison reports. Oh,
I was curious if, because we kind of railroaded whatever plan Randy had to give us an update on stuff, and so I wanted to just double check to see if he had anything more
we're not
that
to
he
that part
wanted.
of the agenda yet.
I will do that later, Councilor, if it's okay with pleases the council.
Okay.
I have a little update to provide.
Okay.
Later.
Yeah, we'll get that in just a moment. We're gonna skip that because Mr. Mayor is not with us at the moment. Councilor comments and liaison reports. Councilor Day, we'll start with you, Councilor Patton.
Thank you. Yeah, so I attended the Planning Commission meeting the other night where they received information about the comprehensive plan update, correct? And they had some things that they wanted to kick up to the council to consider. Again, it was brought up about, trying to control our destiny with future road connections with the county and the state, which we only have so much control over. So that was one of the things. And then they had some other stuff for us to consider, and that will, I'm sure, be part of Don's report when that day comes. So other than that, there was robust discussion, but it seemed like everything was on track and there wasn't anything that was super glaring that gave any consternation. So that was great. I attended, I'm trying to think back now to which meeting was which. I covered going to the chamber luncheon because I think that was before the last meeting. I think that was the major thing because I covered the eco park, the eco club. So yeah, I guess that is the majority of what I have for tonight.
Okay. Councilor Maldonado, do you have anything this evening?
I do not, I'm sorry.
That's fine. Councilor Davis.
Thank you. Yeah, a few things. First of all, I'd like to lead off by thanking the job that the Canby Rotary did on the father-daughter dance. For those that don't know, we anticipated 625. registrations, and we had over 700. We filled up every possible parking lot in the area. But it was so cool to see the dads out there with the young ladies, and the gyms, both gyms were full, and they were dancing and having a really good time. But great job by the Canby Rotary Club for putting that on. If we don't limit it, we're going to have to find a bigger spot, like the fairgrounds or something like that, because it's continuing to grow by about 100, 125 every year. So. Great job on that one. I've got two reports, one on Park and Rec. I'd like to thank Don for his presentation to the Park and Rec Committee. Did an outstanding job in regards to gaining some consensus in regards to the projects, which will be presented to the council, I believe, at our next council meeting. Yep, and so great job by Don, and great job by the Park and Rec Committee for their recommendations. It was kind of a hybrid between the Jason plan and the Davis plan for the most part. So, but they met the objectives essentially, but good job on the part of Don. We talked about Artisan Park, which is over behind Fred Meyer's. And they want to have another work party there. Apparently there was some wind damage caused into the trees there at that windstorm that we had. And so Spencer's looking into that in regards to some branches hanging down and stuff like that that potentially could be dangerous to people in the park and or the work party. So Spencer and crew are going to get over there and take a look at that. And once that's done, then Spencer's looking into the liability aspects of being able to do another work party over there to clean up that park. Everybody's familiar with that one. It's behind Fred Meyer's and stuff. We did a work party there a couple of years ago and planted some plants in there. So they want to get busy with that one as well. We talked about Auburn Farms, and good news is it's moving right along. Did you ever find out if those roofs were put on or not? Yeah. Anyway, it looks like the gazebo roofs are going up, benches are going in and stuff like that. So it's been extended out to June, yeah, for completion, which isn't too bad considering the weather and things like that. And so we'll keep everybody posted as to the grand opening of that. But the one thing that we do have to do is come up with the name. And so they're going to follow our procedure that we have in place in regards to accepting recommendations on the name of that park. So that'll go back in front of the Park and Rec Committee at their next meeting. With a recommendation back to the City Council in regards to the name of that particular park. And the only thing that's waylaid a little bit is the splash pad, and they're waiting on some parts for the splash pad for that particular, to wrap up the project.
Excuse me, Councilor Davis?
Yes.
I apologize, my audio cut out here. Were you talking about the park that's behind Fred Meyer's where Sequoia Grove is?
No, this is the new park, Auburn.
Earlier you were.
I was earlier, yeah.
Okay, all right, sorry, my audio for some reason just, it went completely blank.
Yeah, no problem. No problem, yeah. Two separate ones, Artisan Park behind Fred Meyer's to do a cleanup there, and then Auburn Farms is the new park.
Okay, got you, thank you.
Yeah. I did attend the Canby Adult Center meeting, and under the director's report, Lynn Bonnell. Lynn has worked there 18 years. She's been in charge of the transportation for the Adult Center. She's going to be retiring after 18 years on April 10th. And so more to come in that in regards to Lynn's done an outstanding job with not only local trips, but also going as far away as Europe, taking seniors to Europe and to various places around the United States. So she's done an excellent job with that. They're in full mode. I think April is what they're looking at, Jason, unless you've heard something different. But April, I think, of next year is when they're looking at trying to move into their new facility. And meanwhile, they're struggling to try to keep the old facility in regards to the refrigerators and the freezers and stuff like that working. So the freezer's out again. So they're going to try to lump it through with just the refrigerator up at that particular location. And they received their investment report, their annual investment report, which they're doing very well in regards to their investments. But they've had the same investment company there for the last 10 years. And so I was able to sit and listen to that as well. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, Councilor. Councilor Stearns.
Okay, well, two things on my mind right now. One is, and this is kind of me as both a business owner and a city councilor, but I figure I'd do it open council anyway. The parking lot next to the Graham building that the city owns needs some handicap parking spaces there, especially next to the door to the two-story Graham building, because that's where the elevator is for people who have wheelchair, that don't really have any good wheelchair access to that building. There are some handicap parking spots on the street side, but that's really inconvenient for anybody who's got wheelchair or their mobility issues. So I would kind of want to make a request that somebody think about putting some handicap parking spots. And I don't know if I...
It's a private lot.
No, it's not. It's owned by the city.
Is it? The
It's owned by
Graham
the city.
building one?
The parking lot behind the Grand Building is
It is.
partially owned by the city.
Partially.
Whereas it's partially owned by.
My understanding is it's owned by the city, but if it's...
Okay.
Which
well,
part of it is?
Which part? Well, we can figure that out, I guess.
I'm just saying that I think there's a need, a big need there. I'm seeing that with my business and other businesses that have, because the elevator is not on Grant Street. The elevator side of it's on the parking lot side. And so if they park on Grant Street, and have mobility issues, they have to get all the way to the other side of the building before they can get an elevator. So I just wanted to bring that up. The other thing is that I was wanted to see if we have a chance to give and receive feedback from the attorneys as a. I know we talked about that earlier, and I was just going to follow up with that. I know there was some question whether it can be done in an executive session or not, but I think it has to be done in executive session because I don't think it could work without executive session, just because of the things we discussed where it would be an executive session. And I know the law may not be clear, but that's okay. We take risks.
Did OGEC talk to you, get back to you with that opinion request?
They actually, they did not get back to me, did they, Councilor? I know we talked briefly.
I need to tap in here.
Because we landed on, it has to be an open session. But the OGEC, I don't think they got back to us.
So if I may, there was a poll done of us to see who would be for doing it in executive session or that. Randy, in a conversation with him, had mentioned he was having trouble getting a hold of someone at OGEC. I, being a fair team kind of person, ferreted out a person there and had a conversation with them. And their statement to me was that because the firm is not an employee, it's done through a contract, any conversations we would need to have with them about overall general performance would need to be done in a public hearing. Unless it is something specific to a legal function or a pending litigation or something along those lines that fall within one of the ORSs for executive sessions, to try and have a wide-ranging conversation with them about how things are going and what our thoughts are on various things would without a doubt violate executive session rules. I then brought up the fact that there was a conversation about, well, could you do less than quorum meetings with 3 and 3 to get that information, roll it on up, roll it on back. This gentleman said that that would be perilous as well, because those 3 people would constitute a subcommittee of the council. And if any sort of recommendations or anything like that were made amongst that subcommittee and rolled up and then rolled back down and led to decisions or whatever, that subcommittee really needs to, when that subcommittee, if it was not publicly noticed that they were meeting and that meeting was not made, like notes kept, made public, and then open to the public, then that would violate public meeting laws as well. So from what I can tell, there is no way that we can have the conversation that people are asking. And I made it fairly clear to the OGAC person that if the council were to move forward with such a conversation, I would not participate, and whether that was in a larger, broad range executive session or the 3-on-3. I've been through that process once. I have no interest in going through that process again.
Okay, well, for the record, I think that a person should be able to have confidential communications with their attorney. And for the record, I think that ODEC is wrong. And for the record, I'd be willing to risk the $5,000 fine, which I don't think would actually get to that point from other attorneys and city attorneys that I've talked to. So I know that state agencies sometimes are very conservative in their rulings, and I know in the past I've litigated those and overruled them before with success. So I personally think it would be very difficult to have a conversation about legal representation in an open session. And also, I think it's irresponsible to not have those conversations. So I'm not sure what that leaves us as at an impasse, because I don't see how you can have an attorney and not have a conversation about the representation with the representation. And I've dealt with a lot of attorneys, and I think that could be something that could be challenged, but I don't know if you have any opinions on that, because it seems like it's hard to say you can't have because you can't mention anything that you've actually had a conversation about in an open session. And so
Yeah, it puts you in a difficult place. I have a thought on a solution. So your hypothetical to the person from OGAC about doing it in sets of 3, that becomes both a subcommittee problem and then a serial meeting problem if each subset of 3 members of council heard what the other subset of 3 said, because then you're created a quorum that's communicating each other through a third-party messenger, which is what they call a serial meeting and is a public meeting. And if you do it that way, you violated public meetings law. What you could do, which we've done in the past for other more administrative matters, is have a staff person, so like Randy or HR, collect individual evaluations from you guys for the city attorney position, the folks of us that are working with you on that. And then at a staff level, the results are, consolidated, created into one final evaluation. That the unfortunate part is council would not see again in order to avoid, that messenger shuttle type communication, but it would then be conveyed to the city attorney's office. So that doesn't get at exactly what you want, which is a conversation or a discussion, council having that discussion in executive session, because what I just said wouldn't involve a discussion. But it is perhaps halfway there. So if you don't want to do it in open session, but you do want to do it.
Like a diving competition where everyone puts a score, 8.5, even, and they give them a score at the end. That doesn't, not the idea of what, the goal isn't to rate you, it's to communicate, give and receive feedback. And I have a hard time, given my background, dealing with legal matters and stuff, saying that you have a can have a proper relationship with the attorney if you can't have that conversation. And so just using my background as experience, if the council can't have that conversation, because you or your firm, I guess, was one of our direct hires, then in fact, we have a contractor for our judge, and we've had executive session conversations about him as well, even though he's not officially an employee.
He's our employee as a council.
As an individual.
But he says he's an but he's a contractor, right?
He has a contract with us to be our judge, just like Randy has a contract with us to be our administrator.
So I'm having a hard time wrapping around, and no offense or anything, it's just the idea of having an attorney and not being able to give and receive feedback about that relationship in an open way.
Well, here's the thing. At no point did I say that OGEC says you cannot have a meeting with the attorney to hear what they have to say about their relationship with us and give them feedback about our relationship with them. The problem lies that if you want to have that conversation behind closed doors, that is the problem, is that because the attorney is a group of people contracted to work for us, so it's not just Emily, it's all the people at that firm. And so because of that, they are not a direct employee of the city. And so from what I can tell of what I've read and what this OGEC person told me, and I can't remember his name, that is where the problem lies, is they aren't an employee, they are a firm that we've contracted with. Now, if there is a specific question about pending litigation or property or things that can't be seen by the public or whatever, then yes, those totally can happen in executive session. But the problem is that as soon as it would need to be noticed as a discussion about that thing, and if all of a sudden the conversation were to migrate to, well, yeah, but I also want to talk about this thing over here, then therein lies the problem.
But so here's what I'm saying though. If having a contracted law firm is our solution for legal advice, which I think there's a lot of advantages to that arrangement. If the downside is we can't have candid conversations about the relationship, then in my mind, that having this knowledge means that it can't be effective, and we probably should look for a single attorney so that we can go around this. But it sounds like one of those silly rules that people just haven't thought out well enough ahead of time, and that there is really no case law on it, and would probably just end up being something that they would litigate or settle on later on, in my opinion, because around these all the time. It's not hypothetical. We go all the time. Tax law says, we don't know. There's never been a case law. Let's just do it and see what happens. Sometimes you just have to do it that way. You're safe from all kinds of any sort of threat. And so, but my idea is if we have an attorney that we can't talk to about, then that's basically not a good attorney. I'd advise most of my clients to get rid of such attorney that you can have a candid conversation about, because that's part of the attorney relationship, is to have candid conversations and confidential. And it really is impossible to have it without, if we have to say, that thing you did when you did that one time, it's just, you can't. You have to be specific enough so that the feedback can be received and given. And so, I mean, if we're just worried about this ODEC ghost chasing us for every little thing, then I think at a certain point that we should say, okay, there's no law on this, let's challenge it.
Okay, there's public meetings law for a reason, so I would be fine with having a meeting in a work session situation, not necessarily on the regular business meeting, but that would be something we have to discuss if they're willing to participate in that kind of a discussion. What I heard Councilor Patton say was not that we couldn't have a conversation, it's just we can't have one in executive session. We could have one in a work session. So,
but it'd be difficult to mention things that were
potentially
in if things need to be discussed or things that were brought to our attention in executive session, then we can't really, we could only have half a conversation.
I don't believe I have anything that I need to hold from the public. So if you have things that you're specifically concerned about, maybe get those things to Randy and we can figure that out. But we need to move on from this because we're not going to schedule a meeting about this tonight. So, but we know that the OGEC ruling was, we know the desire is, we'll figure something out.
We had council that all agreed that we wanted this.
Councilor Davis.
Thank you. I think we should move this on and make it either an agenda item or a work session agenda item because it came up under council, which I appreciate, but it came under council comments and none of us had an opportunity to really think about this and to see, the information that Jason has provided us. And I'd like to just move this on to either a work session or an agenda item and then present the information on what our options are.
Yeah.
Taking the information that Jason provided, that Emily's provided and stuff like that. And perhaps also look at what do other cities do that use their firm, to do evaluations. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I think that we should move this on.
Yeah, no, we're not the only city that contracts, so we have to have some kind of way to evaluate, right? Okay, any other councilor comments from you?
That was it.
Councilor Waterman.
The Bike and Ped Committee this month was good. As I mentioned, Mr. Ely was attended. It was actually a follow-up to a previous meeting that he actually showed up with Chief Tro a few months ago. And one of the discussions was about a big thing that's kind of, as things change and technology changes, is e-bikes. Not just on the trails, but on sidewalks and roads, and they're not just little electric scooters anymore. They're basically little mini electric motorcycles, and it's starting to come up more and more and more. So lots of discussion about that, about the Oregon State Parks rules, about classifications of e-bikes, and et cetera, which is still not quite there. And talking about like some of the projects, about getting some of the striping done on the logging trail, et cetera. So really appreciate again the proactiveness of reaching out to the committee. And they're also looking at the transportation plans and et cetera to look at sidewalks and roads and making sure that they have some input on what's going on with that going forward in future planning. And then library board meeting they're jumping in doing some pretty good work about looking at obviously it's budget season as well, but what are the priorities, if there were things that that had to change, what are those? And one thing I thought was interesting with the Friends of the Library. Apparently the bookstore that raises money, the library actually collects, the city collects the funds from that basically for the Friends of the Library. So staff members have to actually collect the money, run the credit cards, and then our finance department actually processes that information, that money, and then they have to separate it out from the city and then send it back to the Friends of the Library. And they're getting rid of that. So they're changing that. They're going to a contactless payment system so that everything is handled through them. It relieves any staff, any burden on the library staff to have to manage that, and the finance department from having to manage that. So they're getting rid of that and streamlining that. So they're kind of cleaning that up. So that is, I think, is a bonus as well.
I never knew it was that way.
Yeah.
That was interesting little tidbit. Thank you.
So yeah, and again, the kind of the big thing going forward is one of the main things that's budget related that could help the library get to our minimum requirements is the bilingual librarian staff position, and I'm sure that'll come up even more during budget season. So that's all I have.
Okay. All right. I don't have a lot. The Traffic Safety Commission did meet, talked about e-bikes there too. We now have Chris Maycomb as our liaison, so we wanted to say a thank you to Officer Davis for his tenure with us and welcome Maycomb back. We are working with a couple of things, speed reduction possibility at South End, working with ODOT, and also Highway 99 and Redwood, or left is Redwood, right is Sequoia. That's, okay, this is my PSA, people. You're not supposed to do a U-turn there. We're trying to figure out how to get that sign moved because it's a full car length back from the line. And as many times as I see it, I know it's got to happen more than that. So no U-turns, people. That's all I have on traffic safety. And then the Canby Prevention Coalition did a community leadership lunch and learn. Thank you, Councilor Patton, for attending with us.
That's why.
And yeah, so if there's anyone who wants to get involved with that project, please feel free to reach out to me and I can show you how to get involved. We meet once a month on Zoom, but we're also going to have on April 9th, for the parents out there, there'll be a parents' night at Baker Prairie Middle School. And they're going to be having speakers there. Officer Wallers is going to do some education on vaping and online safety. And so parents out there, you would be shocked at what you might think is just a highlighter pen. Might not be homework after all. So you might want to go to that April 9th Parents' Night and learn about the things that are out there. And also our Suicide Prevention Task Force met this week, and we are working on, we don't have a date yet, but we are working on another QPR training. So I'll let you know more about that when it comes to fruition. Moving on to City Administrator business and staff reports. Randy.
Thank you, Council President. I will start off with the listed items. On the agenda first is thanks to the leadership team. They sent in their bi-monthly reports for January and February. Hope you all had a chance to review those. I'll just point out there still are some vacancies, so feel free if you're out there or promoting. We have one in Bike and Ped, 2 on Parks and Rec, 2 on the Heritage and Landmarks Commission, and 1 on the Transit Committee. So some vacancies. Come have some fun with us. I did mention that, and in your packets, you saw a letter from Chief Tro after 30 plus years in the business, mostly all here at your beautiful city of Canby. So huge congratulations. I'm sure there'll be some public adulation, some flowers as we move down the road, but Chief Tro has indicated that he wants to help us with our search. So really grateful to the chief for that and all his years of service. Only 2 years at Clackamas County Sheriff's. The rest were all here in his amazing career at Canby. So shout out to Chief Tro. And I want to thank him for helping onboard me when I first started. You all put him in charge first. And it was real nice. We had a little private stand-up congratulations to the chief with the city staff the other day, and it was really heartwarming to see everybody come from the city staff. So we wanted to do that for him personally before the public starts. So we are working on that one. And then Dawn is here because just a real, in your packet is a brief update on a grant. Dawn is really good at getting grants for our planning work, and just a really short update, Dawn, on where we're at on this one, the DLCD Housing Planning Assistance Grant.
Thank you, Randy. Good evening, Council President Hensley and council members. I will keep my remarks short. We have a Department of Land Conservation and Development grant we have just received, which is helpful in a number of ways. This is going to be matched, the funding, part of this funding is going to be matched up with some other city funding we have in our planning budget for the code audit portion that we will kick off. You all will be seeing on April 1st a packet, and that's part of that is the code audit. Part of that funding will help with the urban growth boundary expansion for new work, and then part of that funding, which is awesome, is for already contracted work with our current consultant. Not completed work, but contracted work. So they're paying us for things that we've already been contracted currently. There's $40,000 we're going to end up having as city funds, which we will keep out of the $75,000 funding. So Department of Land Conservation and Development has been a really good partner. They are definitely vested in helping us get to the end of the urban growth boundary process and understand it's very expensive. And I think there's a recognition to that. So just appreciate the fact that DLCD has been involved in helping us through the process. It's always nice to also be able to keep some of the money and not give it all to the consultants in the end. So that was it, unless there's any questions.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Don.
Thank you. Just a couple quick updates I'll run down, and you can ask me any questions as we move through this. First, we have some upcoming events. I wanted to confirm that on March 20th, Friday, this coming Friday, we're going to take a little field trip over the city of Sherwood, where their assistant city manager and executive director of the YMCA will greet us and host us on a tour of their facility, the YMCA. Thanks to Mr. Todd Wood for being our chauffeur, Canby Area Transit. Departure 9 a.m. from right out front here, sharp, and then our first stop is 10 a.m. in Sherwood. And then after about an hour tour, we will move down to Newburgh for the Chehalem Aquatic Center, where we will meet their executive director or program manager to tour us on their swim facility. We'll have a brief lunch, and then we'll hopefully be back here around 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the afternoon. So I'm really excited for that. Thank you all for coming. As you can see, we have, and one of the things to think about is in November, we do have to put the swim levy renewal on the ballot, 49 cents. And so I'll be interested to talk to council, get some direction from you on how to shape that, what some thoughts are about that, because we have some deadlines to hit and working with legal coming up here in the coming weeks to get the ballot, get everything procedurally in place. Walnut Street, talked to Spencer today, and the final paving on Teakwood Monday and Tuesday is coming to finish that sewer bore project up there. So we thank the residents for their patience. Thank you, Councilor, for knocking on doors and giving us heads up. Councilor Patton on a couple issues, but Spencer reports that Monday or Tuesday should be the final pave for that. And then Todd and Spencer and team are working on a temporary access permit from ODOT. I signed off on that the other day. So Canby Excavation has submitted to ODOT for that temporary permit. And once we get that, knock on wood, Clackamas County signs off, and then we're off and working. So thank you to the team. Seems like we've got some momentum going on that one. Councilor Davis.
Did we actually get the permit then? Still waiting. Okay.
It's been submitted.
Right. Still waiting.
You'll be the first to know. We're going to be doing backflips at Public Works. Charter Review Subcommittee meeting is March 26th. I skipped over a couple upcoming meetings. The Canby School District will be coming to see you on April 1st at Council, the board chair and Superintendent Patterson. On April 8th, we're going to have a joint work session with Canby Utility Board on the floor, and we'll be talking about their upcoming project. And then April 14th, Don and I are going to speak with the metro area realtors at the Canby Police Department. It's about growth and what trends and what they're seeing in terms of pricing, housing in Canby, and express to us just feedback from that profession. And Don's going to talk to them about growth that we're projecting as well. So great, should be a good meeting. I'll bring those learnings back to you guys. I think I'll pause there. If there's any questions.
Just a clarification.
Yeah.
You mentioned the charter subcommittee. We actually meet tomorrow at noon.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes, not March 26th.
Not March 26th. I know it went back and forth a couple of times, but Emily, you're on board for tomorrow at noon? Okay,
Tomorrow,
good.
then.
Do we
Yeah.
need to bring lunch for?
No, we're going to provide a light, like Jimmy John's or something, a 2-hour meeting. And they are bringing a couple board members themselves too,
Good,
to
yeah.
join us.
Perfect. Councilor Davis, you have a question?
Just a recommendation too. Randy is Craig Roberts, County Chair, spoke at the Rotary Club, and he offered to come and do a short presentation to the City Council too on what's happening at the county level.
Great. Okay, I'll
So
reach out.
Maybe if you wanted to touch bases with him, I can give you his contact information. But his presentation was really good.
Great, thank you.
Councilor Patton, you have your hand up?
Yeah, a couple of things. One is I thought this was going to come up under the city administrator recruitment update, but as some of you may remember, Daniel, our Councilor Stearns, Councilor Waterman, and I were tasked with taking the review process the review and goal setting process that we were looking at and vet that out, which was done. And then things changed. But after Randy got on board, I did send that to him for his review. And I am under the impression that you at some point in time will come back to us with some thoughts. And I figured this might be a good way for us to trial run that with someone that we are comfortable with. And so I think that would be my recommendation for folks to consider. The other thing is that the goal setting, and this is based on the experience from the budget committee meetings last year. At our goal setting session we did earlier, or last week, Randy had given us sort of an update on high level stuff with the budget, and he had mentioned that he is planning, that his directive is planning the budget with a 20% contingency. Now, last year, when it was talked about what the contingency was going to be, there was some concerns, and essentially the directive was if you plan on hitting a certain contingency, then the council needs to be aware of that and essentially approve you moving forward with that contingency. And if that's the case, I think we need to do that. And get that feedback now and out of the way, so that way when the budget committee comes and he says we're at a 20% contingency, members of this group do not say you did not come to us and get that approval. So I don't know how that would look, but I want to make sure that that's memorialized so that the work that you are moving forward with the city staff, that does not come back to rear its ugly head at some point in time. And then the last thing I'll throw out is in that vein, there was some discussions and possibilities of the library not having to pay back all or some of the interest that they have to pay to borrow money from the Cemetery Perpetual Care Fund. That is still something I would like us to consider, and I don't know at what point in time that can come up for a discussion for us here. But I think we should continue to look at that, and that horse I will continue to beat until I'm told I cannot beat it anymore. So those were a couple of things that I just wanted to bring up on that.
Councilor Davis.
Good point, Jason. I heard Randy loud and clear in regards to the 20%, and that's how he was going to develop the budget. So I don't know if anybody's opposed to that. I mean,
I'd rather keep
I heard him say that. That's what I was expecting.
Was it, I think it was only if it went outside of the 20 to 25, if it was like below 20, they had to come in.
And he's developing it at 20%, which was our last direction, 20 to 25% or something like that.
Yeah, so,
yeah.
Good. Anything else, Randy?
No, Council President, thank you.
Okay. This is the second opportunity for citizen input. Is there any citizen that wants to input? No? Okay. Anybody online? Any latecomers? No? All right. Action review.
One moment, Council
sorry.
President Hensley.
What was that?
I had one thing that, just real quick to add, just piggyback off of what you had said earlier about the U-turn area. There is a video that is now floating around Facebook of a couple of vehicles going around the barricades at South End and 99.
I see that too.
Instead of turning into the turning lane and going up 99, they are going around the barricade to go up 99 and then come into Canby. I cannot stress enough how absolutely idiotic that is. Please do not do this.
Yeah, there's a dedicated lane for a reason. I saw that same video. It was shocking. Yeah, be safe out there, Canby. Jason, Councilor Patton, did you have?
No, it was action review. And then from
Action
there.
review.
You approved the consent agenda and the appointments. You approved Ordinance 1665 to a second reading on April 1st. You adopted Resolution 1453, and you motioned to come back with an ordinance to extend the interim city administrator's contract through December 31st, 2026.
Okay. Councilor Patton.
So considering it is 8:30, I'm going to begrudgingly, with much consternation, move to adjourn the meeting tonight.
If you want to stay, you're welcome to. It's been moved by Councilor Patton and seconded by Councilor Waterman. It's a non-debatable motion. All those in favor? Aye. Good night, Canby.
Nay, I will say nay.